Like I prefer to perch on something.
I like that. That
worked pretty
was
well
that
for
was
you
the first. That little bit there was the first thing that's going to be on the recording in the stream for this session. So thank you for that, Biddy.
I don't
I
really have an
appreciate it.
ass.
Excellent.
It's more of a cloaca, but
Okay.
It's more of
So,
a thorax, quite frankly.
So doing our recap from last session before we go to the crawl, I believe it was I volunteered our newcomer, Mr. Snekgo, to recap what happened last session.
Okay, so last session, we started off in the Chili's 2, the Chili's Express rather. And,
yes, I was gonna say you're gonna take 5 strain if you're gonna get the Chili's Express name wrong, because then
Well, that's what they used to be called. Then they rebranded as Chili's Express. The original airport Chili's were called Chili's 2 TOO.
Yeah,
that is
no
that is no
God.
joke. That is some history. That's some lore thrown at you.
that's not new Star Wars
there,
lore.
Mech runs into and I'm struggling to remember the name of this particular
Mel.
Imperial officer, Mel.
Yeah.
Thank you. Runs into Mel. Mel is, while not exactly affectionate, is also probably nicer than any other Imperial mech has run into over the course of the entire campaign. So, that's good for him. But also, he got pulled and roped into assisting her with undetermined duties there on her Star Destroyer, and again, I don't have my notes, but anyway, so she pulls him off. Snekgo Hsiss gets introduced as the interim assistant because Snekgo was unfortunately indebted to the Imperials for a couple of various reasons, and then we go off onto a jaunty little experience on this swamp planet. After our initial interactions there in the hangar bay with the spoiled gravy, and what? Pretty sure Snick. Oh, yeah. And once we got here, we encountered some apparently Phase 0 Dark troopers and had a decent bit of a fight. Unfortunately, Chal ate a very upfront, close and personal thermal detonator.
That's all blur. Who could remember what happened?
Yeah.
Not Chal.
I managed to fire my gun multiple times and hit nothing but debris that managed to somehow fall on one of the Dark Troopers and incapacitate it. Once we were able to sort of wrap that up, Chal was, it had a saving throw in terms of just epic combat with her own improvised thermal detonator that was made from a dud. That was kind of an amazing life-saving throw because that second thermal detonator was going to be real bad, but also managed to take some pretty grievous wounds from the first one, but killed the second Dark Trooper with that. After our ineptitude on was 2 separate attempts to use med kits, one of which was heavily expired and improvised, we continued to fail to save to at least reach a healing save for Chal, and then we had to use alternative force means to magic another character to show up so she could get some plot device, and then also manage to conveniently save Chal with a bit of medical expertise that none of us were able to pull off. And I think shortly after she beat feet out of there, she revealed herself to be a Jedi. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then promptly beat feet out of there. Mm-hmm. That's the best recap I got.
That's a good one. No, I like that. She may be a Jedi. She might not.
She had a lightsaber. She had a lightsaber.
Yep.
and appeared
That's the important thing, and you guys all remember, and you guys would all be aware that like even with her basically I can carry whatever fucking gun I want because this thing from the Imperial Security Bureau says I can. Like the lightsaber would still get her immediately executed on the spot. So, yeah, but
This
you'll
was
remember
Tila,
that,
right? It was
Tila
a
Koro,
character.
yeah. Tila
Yeah, yeah,
Koro
okay.
shows up to the
Yeah.
party, spending final destiny point, and saves Chal with medical gun. She identifies some strange metal from the crater for Chal to inspect at a lab at a later time. She then pulls a lightsaber, cuts off the head of the downed Phase Zero trooper, and leaps into the air and flies it out from the spaceship. I finally found my notes.
hey, there you go. Better late than never. Yeah. So she definitely made a what you guys would all recognize, especially Champ having fought with Jedi in the Clone Wars, as that's a Force thing. That's not a normal thing that she'd be able to do.
Yeah.
And she came in, she looked like she knew what she was looking for. She went somewhere, found a thing, and you didn't see her like carrying it, so you guys all sort of got the impression that whatever she picked up was doing was something small enough that she could conceal it easily on a person. So that would be something like a data card, like hard drive type thing. Oh, Biddy, thanks for the subscription.
Yeah, I didn't realize I wasn't already subscribed. I just noticed that I wasn't.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's cool. Yeah. So where my notes have things wrapping up. Last time was you guys were sort of like just barely healing and sort of left like what the fuck just happened. But you guys hadn't like dug through the wreckage or looked for survivors or anything because you had mostly just barely finished fighting.
Yeah.
And with that, our text crawl should be in the Look Here channel.
All right. You want me to count it in?
Yep. If you would.
All right. Click play in 3, 2, 1, click. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars, bitches! Trouble in Tion. Session 8. Trying not to die. Mech Hamster is still an unwilling guest of the Imperial Navy after the group's encounter with Melon Baver, the captain of the Imperial Star Destroyer Justica, which is currently orbiting Durbnak. I can't pronounce it. Meanwhile,
Durbach.
the rest of the group and their new associate, Snekgo Hsiss, have survived their first encounter with what appeared to be a powerful and aggressive new Imperial trooper. Swooping in to save Chal Resh, who was minutes and moments from death, Tila Koro left in a hurry after using a lightsaber to remove the head of one of the disabled troopers, and the group must now decide on their next course of action.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
That's
good.
awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, so
sound effects.
That was good.
I'm trying to remember
Very
what time
nice.
of day it was.
I was trying to ham it up best I could.
Yeah,
You
no,
did great.
hamming it up's good. I was trying to remember what time of day it was. I want to say I think it was afternoon.
That sounds about right.
Because you guys got back, you guys left the Chili's Express when the captain came in, and that was like early morning. Like you guys were like at the Chili's Express
about right.
partying because everyone was buying booze, and Chal kept everyone around drinking because Chal
Yeah.
has no breaks. She's all gas,
Mm-mm.
or
The
rather,
woman is
all
made
liquor
purely
and
of
no
throttle
breaks. Yeah,
and
And the-
coffee.
And I'm pretty sure Champ got absolutely royally housed. And I'm
Yes, he
I'm
did.
thinking like
Yep.
halfway through the combat, you like actually managed to sober up.
Probably, yeah. It probably took until about that long.
Seeing one of your friends blow up will do that to you.
Yeah, that sobered him
Yeah.
up real quick.
Yeah. So anyway, whether or not it was afternoon during this fight, we're just going to say it's afternoon now, and we're going to call that a free retcon, just to get us all in the same place. So yeah, you guys are still at this wrecked place where you guys first landed on the planet. You've seen blood, you've seen debris. You haven't seen any bodies, which has struck all of you as fairly unusual, because you're pretty sure with as much blood, like, you would see body parts and things, and you don't. So let me just, as a reminder, this thing here in the middle is sort of like a generator, like, plus like think like a big like tower that like someone might have in their yard for like a ham radio operator.
Okay.
So it's like a pretty good sized tower. Like, you recognize like what looks like communications equipment on it. So like, you're pretty sure like this is their power and like their radio. So however they were interacting with the larger universe, that's how they were. You guys all have seen enough to be like, oh yeah, that's what's going on there. Yeah, it looks like a pretty standard portable, but like a little bit more robust. So maybe not like the cheapest possible gear, but like maybe something good that you went to whatever one level up from like Big Five Sporting Goods is. So maybe like a specialty version of Dick's or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's like everything here was pretty good. The buildings that two of them are basically completely torn down, so like you can see stuff that used to be in the middle of the room. And then the one that's sort of the most intact is the one over to the left, where the you saw the troopers come out of. The building style you recognize is sort of like, think like manufactured housing, but like more like single wide like construction. So like, it's fine for like a, kind of a guerrilla operation that just needs to be cheap and easy to move, but not anything close to even like reasonable housing. It's closer to camping than not.
So it's pre-built structures, but like one step barely from living in a shipping container.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's basically like slightly above like camping gear, but not quite like as sturdy as like a shipping container. Though it's more comfortable than a shipping container inside. It's just, that's kind of like, if you guys encountered this and were dropped here, that's the impression you would get.
Okay.
And a large transmission tower that is sort of normal for interplanetary communication within the Star Wars universe. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, it looks like something you would see, like if someone had like a
not
ranch, or yeah, like it looks a little bit more rugged, like sort of Snek. I don't know if you guys told them that what this camp was about, or I don't remember.
I don't think so.
But you guys would know that, like, yeah, this was sort of like a guerrilla camp that was screwing with the Empire. They were doing their own little private war. You met the Sulston leader Clemm. All that fun stuff. So I'm not sure if you've relayed that, but you guys would have picked up on that. So sort of within that context, like all the gear, like on the tower, both power generator, and like the communications gear, sort of looks like what you would expect, like a well-equipped civilian, maybe using like military surplus type stuff, would have.
Okay.
The tower is probably about 50-60 feet, or whatever it is in metric. I'm not going to do the conversion of. If you live in some place that's using the metric, get with the times, man.
That would be 20 meters, just divided by 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you wanted to check it out, Eorlax could fly it pretty easily. There's there's a lot of like tree cover, but obviously that's placed in a little bit of a clearing where you could basically fly straight up. It wouldn't be like it'd be for Biddy to do it. He'd be sort of like almost riding in an elevator. Like it'd have to be fairly straight up because there's like foliage overhanging, like sort of all the spots that aren't a building.
This stuff at the base of the comm tower, if I can kind of pour over that with any mechanics skill that I can apply to try and see if there's any sort of storage media or anything that might be salvageable, or see if anything has stuff that isn't just punch imprints from dark troopers.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking at it, it's going to be a 3 purple vigilance because you're sort of looking to see if there's something out of the ordinary. Biddy, if Eorlax is going to kind of check out the tower and fly,
take a look.
You can add a boost.
Before Eorlax flies up above the tree line, Champ wants to just do a quick like perimeter check, just to see if there's any more of these troopers lurking in the, nearby vicinity, or if I can see like what transporters they rode in on, because they kind of came out and they were chatting with Champ for a bit, which makes me feel like maybe they had some kind of bikes or something at least to come out to this location. So he wants to make sure that we're totally clear before
you sort of let the guard down.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get too comfortable. And maybe Rich should hang out next to Chal while she's still
Yeah, what is my current status?
yeah.
You have however much wound you have left. I think you had 4. Let me see if it's still saved in my tracker history. It might not be.
That sounds right. Yeah,
like
I've taken 11
you still have a very severe crit. So you still need to see a medical professional. Teal is very expensive. Shoot you with basically nanobots to save your life thing. You'll get an invoice for that at some point. Rather, the Empire will, because they're paying her to help you guys. But yeah, your Chal is still very badly fucked up. Like you feel like you feel like you got run over by a tank, and those guys were pretty solid metal, as you guys all noticed. They seemed fairly tanky, so it seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take a knee.
Can stay in that hole.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay in the hole for a bit.
Keep resting.
Hey, Champ, you mind checking those bodies, see if they have any more ammo on them? If they have any more of those grenades, I'd really like to take one with me.
Sure. After I make my sweep, I'll see what I can find for you.
Cool. I'm just gonna sit in the hole.
Yeah, you take a nap, sweetie. Rich is
pal.
gonna sit right here. He's gonna make you a cup of tea. Isn't that right, Rich?
God.
And Rich, despite only speaking in beeps and whistles and trills, he does in fact offer you in a very British way tea with lemon or milk, depending on what you prefer. It'll be.
Does he have chai
nice
tea? I'll take a chai tea with milk. That's close to coffee.
I'll just take honey. Do you just have straight honey and maybe a little water?
You just like pour it in my mouth.
He would be able to do that. And if you guys give me a destiny point, there can be cups that are clean in the barracks that you can use to have some tea.
No.
No, not this time.
Put your mouth on the spout.
I'm just gonna sit here.
The mental image of a person going over to like a droid's like tea dispensing thing is a very Rule 34 type mental image, and probably the less else said about that, the better. And did anyone get some successes?
I don't know what I'm rolling for my sweep.
you are going to be looking for your choice of a 3 purple vigilance with 2 setbacks because it's dense forest, so it's really hard to see clearly, or a 3 purple warfare. But you can get 2 boosts because you fought in pretty dense terrain like this.
Okay. I'll take the warfare then. Do I still have 2 setback on this?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's 2 boosts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
2
get
boosts
boosts.
sounds
You
better
get boosts
than
because you know how you would operate as a military force in terrain like this.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna be, my guns out, like I'm making sure like if something moves, I can shoot it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If the situation calls for it.
You're
3
really good at
success,
both
no
warfare and
advantage.
vigilance. Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, they're both the same, so I took the one word that the
Yeah.
setback.
Good choice. Good choice.
Okay. Did you? I saw 3 successes and no advantages. Is that
Yeah,
okay? Let me take
that
a
was
sip of
count.
water, and I will tell you what that means. Okay, so Champ, you kind of do the patrol around the perimeter. It's not a huge camp, so it only takes you about 15 minutes. You've kind of been you don't remember seeing when you left this place the first time because you looked out the side of the U-wing and there wasn't like any real clear paths to or from clearings kind of beyond the ones that they had parked ships in. So you don't see any sign of how some like speeder bikes or anything that you're aware of the Empire using sort of getting through. And you also kind of as you're looking around the train, you figure out like there's no if they were preparing, if they were going to try to fight, they wouldn't have been able to park any kind of like powered vehicle that you could think of close enough without triggering basically a security patrol at this camp. Because
Okay.
you've seen signs of like where the normal like security for this camp like would patrol. Like you recognize like paths and stuff. You can see spots that are worn down because you're a soldier. You've trudged trails through jungles. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not new. It's not new or particularly interesting. It's just kind of a thing you're unconsciously doing while you're also annoyed by how kind of muggy this swamp is, and you get bit by a couple of mosquitoes,
Yeah,
so you're going to be
swatting
a little
mosquitoes
uncomfortable
away.
there.
Okay.
So it's sort of like you notice things, but you're not really aware of it. You're just like annoyed by the fact that the swamp is hot and sticky, and you keep getting bit by little mosquitoes.
The usual.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Should I fly up and do a vigilance then? I guess I'm safe to do so.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't find anything else in the area.
Let's see what we get here. 0 success, 1 advantage. Okay. That sounds like basically nothing.
There are trees.
Found some trees, guys.
Yeah.
Like, check out these branches. It's fantastic.
Biddy, you don't see anything, but you're gonna pass a boost to someone that hasn't rolled. And you're gonna be like, hey, on this side, something seems weird. Like you're not sure what, but you're basically like, someone take a look at this and tell me if something like looks. I think we all have had that feeling where like something's wrong and you can't quite like describe it, but like you'll definitely know it as soon as someone says it. You'll be like, yes, thank you.
Mhm.
That's kind of the vibe.
1 success. And ain't much.
Okay.
Did you take that
That
extra
works.
boost?
I did, yes.
Cool. So Snekgo points where Biddy was like, something seems weird here, and Snekgo, because you're basically like a coil, you're like, hey, yeah, you sort of like look at the wiring and how it sort of like slithers and tangles through the structure and connects. And you're sort of following it up and like just like analyzing it in some weird unconscious way, and your brain kind of stops, and you back up and you notice there's a little box about think like about 12, 14 feet up. That's kind of next to a couple of other boxes that are connected to stuff, but this box is not plugged into anything. Like none of the cables either run in or out of it. But it looks like the same color, the same shape, like the same everything. But it's just there's nothing plugged into this one, and it doesn't seem to be connected in a way that would let other things work as you understand it.
Okay. Can I slither up there and go for a closer inspection?
Yes. That is a. It's going to be a 2 purple athletics. You get a boost because it's a metal pole. There's basically like a metal pole you can kind of climb up the side to where you can reach it.
Okay.
But 2 blacks because there's also a lot of wires and stuff, and it's kind of hard. Like you're gonna have an awkward time kind of climbing it.
Very well. No success to advantage.
Okay. So you kind of like try to like climb up. You're like, I'm getting up. You realize you actually sort of get into position. And you're like, oh, you can actually get to this thing. But then you kind of like, poke at it to try to like manipulate it. And you realize you actually just can't get to it, from your angle. But, you sort of look at you can see enough of the retaining mechanism to be like, oh, you got to get this thing on from above. So if you direct Biddy to fly over, he can.
Yeah,
he
that's
can pull
exactly
it
what I
off.
was about to ask. Like, if he could, like, maybe just knock it off, and I would catch it below, or if he thinks he can actually pull it himself. Either way.
Yeah, people are always telling me to knock it off. I'll see what I can do.
Like flying below it, like, can that give like a boost, or that like even if he fails, like I'm there to catch it?
This is actually a simple thing for him. Biddy,
Oh, okay, fantastic. We don't even have to.
give me a coordination check.
Nation. I'm not so good at that, but that's fine. No negatives or anything. Just straight coordination.
You have nothing against you. It's just.
All right, 1 success to advantage.
Yep. Okay. So you are able you fly.
I managed to bang this thing off.
Yeah. After he does that, you're like, oh, okay, cool. You figure, you see it, he points, and the thing clicks off easily. You notice it's not very heavy. It looks like it should be heavier. Maybe it kind of catches you by surprise a little bit. Like you're expecting to kind of have to like brace for it, and the fact that you don't means you kind of jerk awkwardly with the thing, and you're like, whoa. The container, it's like the box that you saw is about the size of like a loaf of bread. Most of that is like just whatever housing it is. You can sort of like nothing's rattling. So like as you kind of like jolt pulling away from it, you don't hear anything rattle. So with some of that advantage, Biddy, you figure out what's in here is either big or it's at least very well protected. Like it's not just like, oh, this was like a stash spot. Like they're like something significance here. That's kind of the vibe you get from this.
All right, this is some serious shit. I guess I'll bring it down to the ground and set it down among our group here.
So if you guys get down and sort of look at it, it looks like sort of like a mostly sealed metal box. There's like you would recognize it as like the closing edge of like a metal box that was on a hinge, but it looks like it's been welded shut.
Okay.
so basically something got put in here, welded shut, or the whatever the Star Wars word is for welding. But and then it got stuck up there. With other stuff that looks like it. So you've
Looks
all
like
sort
the
of
old
pieced it
the old
together.
metal melting happened here. Whatever they call it in our universe.
Yeah. I don't know. For a Destiny point, you guys can canonize whatever the equivalent of welding is in the universe. So, well, that doesn't have to happen right now.
Is this something that like I could wedge my vibro machete into and like try to break it open? Or is that
Yeah.
we're gonna need something with more like a laser or cutter to get through?
This would be a good question for someone with mechanics. So Rich could look at it because he has some ability to observe stuff. Or
Okay.
Chal.
Yeah, you can probably
I
electro
think they have
weld
the same
stuff, right? Don't
mechanics.
they have the little attachments and all the Dremel tools and such?
Yeah, he's got
Here-
a little flamethrower for caramelizing the whip off of fancy beverages, so right?
Yeah, he does.
I like the sound of that. I like the
Yeah,
sound of
let me
that.
see the box. I'll see if I can suss out if that's possible.
Can I
So,
boost their mechanics? Because I've got a 3.
Chal, I think you're 3 yellow and a green.
Yes.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. So if Snekgo is going to assist, and presumably Rich will also sort of look at it, you'll all do your like the 3 guys standing in front of a car with the hood up, staring at it, doing the
Well,
like
there's your
diagnostics.
Yeah.
The extensive diagnostics where like everyone has solved the car problem by popping the hood and standing in front of it with like a couple friends staring at it for like 10 minutes and then being like, all right, I know what the fucking problem is. It's the alternator again. God damn it. Like, it's because it's always the alternator. But yeah, that aside, if you're gonna roll together, I'll give 2 boosts for this, but it's time for another flip, and it's going to be a 3 purple and a red.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
5 success,
Nice.
3
Hot
advantage.
diggity.
Okay.
The box flies open just from you looking at it.
No,
Box
you-
hears me.
Words, open sesame and boink.
no, you sort of look at it and all come to the same conclusion. Rich actually is the first to speak. He kind of goes, "Oh, that's not much of a security device, is it?" And you guys both are like, "Yeah, I mean that
Rich
weld
talked
looks
in
pretty
beeps.
flimsy." Yeah. No, but I'm giving you the
but we understand the
translation
beeps.
for what. Yeah, you understand it, and also he's very British and proper. So think like John Cleese and Faulty Towers type. Like that's how you hear Rich in your head.
But booping.
That's a great show.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Everyone's
Yeah.
so mean
So-
on that show.
It's so mean.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But anyway, that is what you guys should hear when I'm speaking as Rich. Just that voice.
Okay.
Good,
So
fantastic.
you guys all recognize the weld as something very flimsy. Like Champ, you were immediately like pulling out your blade to look at it or to like pry it. You're like, all right, I can apply some force, and you're just like, hold on a second, and you actually just like smack it with like the handle of the thing, and the whatever that flimsy weld is, it just like snaps.
Oh, sick.
You guys all were like, you saw the weld, and you all saw it was incredibly weak and looked like it was like kind of done as like a haphazard. Like, we just need this thing to stay closed without having a visible mechanism, and they kind of hoped it would be for the best. Mostly, like, you recognize the weld was mostly done to make it look as much like the other boxes rather than security. Yes, exactly. I now approve this image of Champ as the Fonz.
Just banging it opens up.
If we're doing a live action adaptation of this campaign, I want Henry Winkler to play Champ. Um,
You're the most handsome clone I've ever seen.
I mean, it checks out, man. Yeah, you guys crack this thing open. You see what you recognize as basically like data drives.
Hmm.
There's so this is like your characters would understand this the way this will probably click for you guys. You recognize these, like for us, these would be like you find like about 6 like 2.5-inch like laptop SATA SSD type deals. So they're in like a shell that you would use to like if you had to ship a couple hard drives and you didn't want them to get damaged, like you would pack them in like super tight. So it's like it's very tight fitting. It's very clearly meant. Like
So
you
like
guys
a
all
scaled
sort
down
of
version of what they had in Rogue One that they pulled out of the place with the Death Star plans.
yeah. They're like there's like an array of like a half dozen of those things, but they're smaller.
Yeah.
So yeah, much smaller scale, but that's kind of the idea. You all go, okay, these look like they're the universe equivalent of USB. You're like, oh, we could plug these into pretty much any computer that we trusted and
Gotcha.
see
And
what's
check it
going on.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can hopefully review these when we get back to the ship and drag, Chal's now, minus a couple organs body back there with us.
Slightly less mangled, but still pretty mangled.
Yes.
Hold on a second. I gotta do a thing real quick. As you
TM.
open it up.
A trademark thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
A thing happened
A
because
thing
you
happened.
opened it.
A thing happens. Ah, yes.
I hope it's an unmangling. I think you're plenty mangled there, Chal.
Yeah, so a thing happened and you opened the box and saw it's basically like data drives. Is there anything else you want to do here? You guys haven't really looked around for survivors or anything. Champ has kind of cleared the perimeter. Didn't see anyone alive.
Oh yeah, I
everyone
was
else
gonna
sort of
loot.
checking the town.
I was gonna loot this body over here. That's, I believe, missing a head from Tila's intervention there. But
Yeah,
Chal wanted to see
there's
if it
no
had
head.
any more explosives.
I don't know
and
why she wanted that head so badly. I put a lot of holes in it.
I'll loot it for stuff for Chal, and also if there's any kind of like cybernetic things that I could pull off and get some info from them, like not chopping limbs, but if there's like chips or something from the semi-exploded dude that I can see that I could just grab, then yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Sure. It's a 4 purple mechanics with 2 setbacks.
Okay.
Because this is a level of
Do you
mechanical
want
complexity
help?
you don't understand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have any skill in mechanics, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I finish this
Champ's
inspection?
doing the
for this stuff?
equivalent of like kicking the tires as far as the
Isn't Chal the
troubleshooting
mechanics
goes.
expert?
I'm willingly not
Yeah.
doing anything because I'm crippled. So,
Yeah, she should
Yeah.
stay in the hole.
Okay.
I'm
hang
sitting
on,
in my
hang on.
hole.
So
she
yeah, if
would
Snekgo
be
wanted to
adding
help her out-
setbacks.
The
if
gears grinding
she
in your
was
brain. I'm
helping.
like, wait a minute. Okay, let me come help you.
I'm dripping blood all over, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So what?
I was gonna say, Chal would be getting setbacks if she was trying to like look for stuff because she's like in enough pain and fucked up enough that you're kind of drifting in and out of what's going on around you. Like, if you've ever had like a concussion, that sort of like vignetting you get in your vision where like everything's kind of going dark and it's super freaky, like a scary version of like about to black out from getting too hammered, like that's kind of where Chal's at. She's real fucked up.
She's in no shape to do anything.
Gotcha.
Can I help Chal in any way? Can I get any kind of like assistance?
I mean, I think I
probably will fuck it up if I do. So maybe I shouldn't
you
try.
guys,
unless you're a
I
surgeon.
don't think I'd
I
look
don't
for.
think- Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could give her hit
your
points.
the same as the Genosians, right? Like it's all just kind of goo in there. Is that how it is?
Yeah, you could give her. You could give her a stim pack if you've got one.
I do. Yeah.
I don't.
I
I
mean,
think she's had 2 today, so it would add 3. And it
don't
would get her
waste it.
health up a little bit.
I'm stable,
Um,
but you know.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what's
you're
the
not
difficulty
like you're
on
not.
this?
Yeah, it's still 4 purple and 2, and you know what? It's 2 reds, 2 purples, and 2 blacks.
Man, he really doesn't want me to have a new grenade.
They don't have any more grenades on them. I will save you the.
Okay.
I lost one. Okay. 1 success, 1 threat, and a second success. Because one of the yellows flew off.
Hang on. Just re-roll that. That like I've
Okay.
never seen them fly up like that. Just just hit re-roll. Just
Yeah,
hit roll
considering
and-
that was a triumph. Whoa.
Well, where'd the
Whoa.
yellow go again?
What happened?
What the fuck is going on? Okay, that roller is broken.
But I have to add, I'm 1 proficiency short.
It's like hovering in the air.
Is
Oh.
it still trying to roll the
I
one
can
that
see,
fell
I can
off?
see the shadow. Like, it's up above.
Jesus,
What?
this.
Okay, let's try a different roller. These
Okay.
Yeah, use mine. Mine was
Yeah.
working before.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, mine's been
So
fine. too.
like
Feel free.
it is a thing that we're like the way this like table the
4.
custom scripting for the table works.
Yeah.
How many?
And
4
then
purple?
2 red.
Oh, 2 red.
It's
Okay.
2 red,
And
2
then 2
purple, and
black.
2 black.
I thought you said it was 4 purple.
2 of the 2. I upgraded 2 of the,
He upgraded.
Okay.
them.
Okay, and so what's your skill? 3 yellow.
Yeah, okay. So on mine, I've got 3 yellow, and then it's a black square with a red line in it. What the hell is that?
That removes a
you
that
can
removes
you
that
get
back.
to remove a setback.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, hit roll then.
Yay, everything stayed on. Damn, it rolled for
Oh,
crap.
good. Well, fucked.
Okay,
I'm
well,
glad we worked really hard for that.
yeah. So it's good that there was not a despair because that would have triggered the thing's tampering self destruct, and there would have been a small explosion, which would probably
We
not
don't need
go
any
over
more of
super-
those in our immediate vicinity.
Yeah. So
You've had enough things boom boom.
all right, so you guys all gather around. Champ kind of uses the machete to sort of like try to clear like some of the armor away so you guys can kind of see the insides. Inside, what you see is think like stainless steel kind of braided tubing. Only it seems more like carbon fiber. Chal, as like you've worked with all kinds of weird materials in doing explosives and demolitions, you've never seen anything like this. You've seen like conduit and pipe and stuff, and you have no idea what the fuck this is. But you're like what? How was this manufactured? Because like you're feeling it. It's both. It feels like a metal, but it doesn't seem to react like the way you would expect. And you're like, it's super weird to you. You're not sure what's going on with it.
Okay.
And you guys sort of
It's some weird shit.
yeah. When you try to sort of like cut it or interact with it, it's sort of like melts itself. Like you can tell like something weird is going on where it's sort of like disintegrate. Like it's held together, but if you tamper with it, it's gonna kind of like turn into like think like an ooze, like an inorganic ooze.
Gross. Okay.
Yeah, it's real gross. You're all like you're like, oh, gross, and it get everyone take a strain because it smells pretty unpleasant. You're like, holy shit. It's like burning plastic meth smell, kind of like you're like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell some weird reaction is happening, and you're like, nothing good's here. The blaster that he did have, you guys definitely find it has been smashed by some of the debris that pinned him. Smashed his gun.
Okay.
It's basically scrap metal. Like you could totally take it with you, but it's basically raw material value only because it's
Okay.
mangled.
Okay.
Like you guys recognize enough to be like this would you're like this would have been a sweet gun. Like everyone that's fired a gun before is like, oh, this is actually a fucking nice gun. Like
Sheds a
it's
single tear.
yeah, it's like the kind of gun that like even to use the American analogy, if you have a friend, if you know someone that like isn't into guns, but like they see one and they're like, fuck, that's a fucking sweet looking gun. Like the one that makes your non-gun liking person be like, holy shit, that looks fucking sweet. Like that's what that was. You're like, you're all a little disappointed that it's crushed.
Yeah, but it went smush.
Yeah. You guys all recognize that like if you had recovered that thing intact, you could have either had a very nice gun or sold it for a pile of cash to people looking to do some more. Otherwise,
Speaking
kind
of
of in that
doing work,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that if we remember the job that we were tasked for is basically to investigate this site, right? And like the non-sanctioned firing. And that's, I believe I investigated these craters and I found that they
Right.
were purely concussive using just like some sort of metallic object. Do I have that
Yep.
right?
Yeah, I think you got a triumph on this. So I basically told you exactly what had happened. I think and gave you some strain relief, if I recall correctly. But
That sounds
yeah,
familiar.
you recognize these as like not like burn marks. You remember what Mel had sort of mentioned was like there was a discharge of some kind. Like maybe she thought like a turbo laser fired on the planet, which firing on your own people like that's a huge thing. That would be like if a battleship fired a live round at the shore in the U.S. Like they're like people's asses would be,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
would like everyone would be trying to like find the person doing it and throw them under the bus as fast and as hard as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's basically like that was the impression you all got from that. So the fact that Chal sort of like looks at these spots and goes, "No, this is like an impact crater from like an object smashing into the planet, not like a turbo laser blast." Chal's done enough work with like energy and explosives to know kind of like, okay, this is like this kind of impact would be something hitting. This would be something like exploding. This would be like a laser kind of like impact.
Let's also
Could
do
I use my toolkit to like excise a sample of the metal just to
Yeah, you
present as
already
proof?
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already have a chunk of it. Tila cut a
Okay.
piece off with her
Oh, with a
saber.
little mini lightsaber, right?
Yeah, she cranked it. Whoever was closest to her would have noticed that it basically like this the handle of this thing was just like a small like like a little spark, probably think like if you just had a size 1 Phillips head screwdriver, like it did the like what you all know now as the blade did not extend super far. Um,
Cool.
uh,
Okay.
if Champ happened to have been close enough to see, Champ would have been like, I've never seen one of those things do that.
Yeah, I believe he was because I have something written down in my notes from the last session. So yeah.
Okay, then yeah, you had fought with Jedi in the Clone Wars, and you had seen their sabers and stuff, but you knew it as like it's on or it's off. Like there was no like
Right.
short blade thing.
Yeah, there was no half-cocked version.
Yeah. So
Alright.
you think that's weird,
Okay.
and that makes you think maybe that's not the blade that a Jedi would have had.
Right.
You don't know
Still
what that
super
means, but
dangerous
it's
for
sort
her
of
to
like
have. Right. Like
yeah. You recognize the like if you were in town and you saw her like with that on her person and you just shot her and dragged her corpse to the authorities, you would get paid out.
Right. Yeah.
Like
that's
you would get a
that's
good
more than
payout.
enough for her to. Yeah, exactly. For her to
Um,
be risking her life, even though it's not a standard Jedi weapon.
yeah, you would get like the equivalent of about 400 grand tax free.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Empire
I was almost that rich
by this
at one
point is
time.
paying out. Yeah, I
Can
mean,
I
Biddy is
go over
still Biddy is
to
still
the
very
crater
wealthy.
and? Well, it's true. I thought we bought a ship and it somehow got like confiscated, but we did we not get to that point or no?
We
For
have
some
not
reason, I
purchased
No,
a
thought
ship yet.
Oh, I see.
no,
Okay.
you guys
I
had
still
talked
hold the
about
money
it.
on my credits. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what Captain Mel had said was, you won't be leaving the planet. So she knew somehow that you guys were either thinking about leaving or like doing something with the ship, like and planning on leaving. So she knew you guys were leaving, and you guys never figured out or didn't pick up on how that would have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I figure
Can
she's
I-
an
can I
imperial
go to
officer,
the-
so she has some clout and
She,
telling
I
who
mean,
can leave and who
she
can't.
has resources.
Yeah.
She can bring. She can. She's the most powerful military person you guys have seen. She would have been qualified to be on the tribunal that sentenced you guys to a life sentence in the prison mining labor place.
Oh yeah.
So, you recognize that her going to you is super weird, but you
Yeah.
also know like if you try to fuck with her, like bad things will happen.
Mhm.
You
But
guys
she's
all
still
got
lower
the
ranking
impression
than
she
Moff
was,
Kavanaugh.
Moff Elrond.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I just check the crater to see if I get any kind of like force vibes or any kind of weirdness to my own whatever vigilance or perception or whatever I do?
Yeah. Give me a 3 purple vigilance and roll a couple and roll your force die. And you'll basically kind
3
of like
purple bitch.
you'll kind of basically be kind of like kneeling and think like someone praying, but not like trying to make a show of it. They're just like like you can tell they're focused or meditating or their mind is somewhere.
Ah, I see. So can you spawn me some more force die? I need 2 more, but I got 1 failure,
There you
2 threats, 1 triumph actually.
Okay.
Without the force die, let me roll those and see what happens here.
Yeah, the force die is to sort of determine what you pick up on feeling wise.
Dark light on the force die.
Okay. So you feel pain, which is weird. You feel like not it's not from like plants or anything that would have gotten smashed by this. It's not like from nature, but you're feeling like this. There was some pain involved in whatever this metal is. You guys know it's a metal. Chal didn't readily identify it, but you know there's some metal. This is a metal, and there's something like that makes you feel very uncomfortable about whatever this is made of. What would you like your triumph to be? Because you can get an insight onto something else. You can have some favorable happen.
Yeah, good question. I mean, can I learn more about the crater, I guess, or like its source somehow? Or is that not available?
Yeah. Okay. So, the way this sort of happens is, uh, you kind of end up landing and think kind of like kneeling, just kind of like taking it in. You kind of feel like a scratching in your ears. Um, it, it's a little bit of a weird sensation. Like it's a slightly off version of a way you might greet or be greeted by someone in your culture from what you remember. Like it would be like having a handshake that goes just a little too long, like it's a little off, or that kind of thing. But you feel this pain, and let me find my. I can't find my voice changer. You hear that voice, Biddy, the one you recognize as the sage, and they kind of just greet you. What are you looking for?
Frankly, I'm kind of curious what's going on here with this crater. I didn't expect to meet you here, Mr. Sage. How you been? Long time.
Ah, yeah, time. I remember that. Um, the crater. Well, what have you? What do you already know? What are you seeking?
I know there's something wrong with it, and I know you all beyond time and space and that kind of stuff. So maybe you could tell me, like, are we supposed to be worried about this thing? Like, what's going on with these craters here? Like, that's really all I'm trying to get at the end of the day.
Okay, so say the sage doesn't say anything. Kind of just gives you like a kind of gentle, knowing nod, and sort of just like you feel them kind of like stride towards you, and right as they touch your arm, you are suddenly on board the Star Destroyer. You are sort of seeing a control panel. Um, uh, you're aware, like without having any knowledge of what this looks like, you know this is instantly a firing control panel. You look down and see human hands with gloves, and you recognize the sleeves as this is a officer. This is like a ship officer, like think like the person, like the enlisted person working the station and like on like the bridge, but not necessarily on a bridge. So you see this hand. They look up. So like you sort of like feel your hands go down. You look and you're operating some kind of controls and look up. In front of you, you see think like a couple capsules the size of like the Apollo moon capsules, like the command modules. Like it's basically like a teardrop. It's not like it's not like obnoxiously smooth. It looks like you recognize this as some kind of like fired ammunition is kind of the vibe. So it looks like a bullet, but there's a space. It's like a capsule, and inside you can see one of the troopers the group had fought. Basically, same kind of matte gray armor, the same frame, same everything. And then you look down, and your hand hits a button, and those things get launched towards the planet. And then you kind of snap back, and you are back in your body in the crater, and you sort of like look up, and you can sort of see those shells flying and impacting where you're at, and you recognize, oh, okay, so whatever this bullet thing was that had those troops, that smashed here and made these marks. And you recognize this as basically like something got shot out of a deck gun on a battleship at the planet, and instead of being a bullet, it was a thing. It was fired like a bullet, and it was just carrying some badass soldiers.
Oh.
Mm.
So hey everybody, let's gather around. This is all fun. Let's get the fuck out of here. Apparently there was drop ships dropping soldiers on this location from the Star Destroyer up there, and this could happen again anytime. So I recommend we vacate ourselves from this premises.
Champ.
Yeah.
Give me a single purple warfare.
Okay, I'm good at warfare. Let's clear
Because
purple.
we're gonna see if Champ picks up on a thing.
A thing that happens. TM.
TM. 3 success, 1 threat.
Okay, so Champ takes a strain, thinking about how absurd this image is. But Champ, you couldn't fucking deploy a person in a pod by shooting
You're
them
breaking up
from.
a little bit. Silk.
Yeah, sorry, Silk, you're kind of starting to break.
Okay, one sec.
Of a body on reentry wouldn't
Okay.
survive the deceleration.
Right, from
of
being
launching
shot
into that.
from space
Yeah.
and crash landing on the
Yeah.
planet.
The impact alone,
You
yeah.
would a bunch of pudding inside of that space capsule.
Yeah,
Hot
that is like that. The fact that is basically what you picked up on, like what Biddy is describing. You know, like whatever the fuck that thing is, it is not a person, because
Right,
a person
that's
would be
impossible.
would have been goo with how fast they would have been going if they got launched out of a gun from a ship that size.
Right.
Through the planet, through the atmosphere, how hot that thing would have to be going, and looking at the size of the crater, you're like, I know exactly how hard that would be. You're like, this should have blown. You're like, this would have incinerated anything organic, and you are alarmed if that's true.
Yeah.
Champ's gonna say like, yeah, there's about 6 different places in that little theory there where something should have been turned into a blood mist or incinerated. So yeah, that's
Listen,
not
I'm not
that's
the
not
science
normal.
talking guy. I'm the force talking guy. All right, I don't know shit about the physics
I'm just
or whatever.
saying you're
You guys
saying
figure that shit out. I just know what the magical
All right,
nonsense told me. So there you go.
Biddy, give me one of your force points. I'm going to introduce a thing, and it'll be for some good flavor.
Okay, like commit one. You mean like hand you
Yeah.
one?
No. Give me one of your
Okay.
one of your light points. We're flipping for flavor.
Oh, a destiny point. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the good old flip for flavor, of course. Yes.
I already flipped one, so you
Oh,
you guys have
Oh, yeah.
4.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But yeah. So Biddy, you see Champ just like dumbfounded, and you are sure that Champ is just stupid and doesn't understand physics. Like even like you're not an expert, but like you're like what the fuck, is he stupid? And like you pick up like a rock and like drop it, and like you're like gesturing as it falls. You're like, gravity. Like you're trying to like explain physics to like a 2-year-old. Like you're
Yeah,
like it's
if
super
you put
embarrassing.
something inside of something that falls down to the ground. You get it. Like,
Yeah.
downwards.
Champ's
Yeah,
like,
yes.
you understand how many G's we're talking about here? Eorlax just keeps picking up the rock and dropping it.
Yeah, that is what is happening. Yeah, you guys, you are all like, everyone is very aware. Like, yeah, like no, like even for a machine, unless it was built to survive that, like it would just be gone. And the machines that would be capable of handling those forces are bigger than the base you are at.
Right.
Like they're basically like 2 or 3 city block size like mining platforms that are on some moons. Like those are the kinds of things that can handle forces like that.
Yeah, well, and when most things are trying to land on a planet, they employ some kind of like, propulsion or parachutes or something to slow them down. Like things aren't typically, unless it's literally a bomb, things aren't launched with like all with just straight velocity. It's like just land, motherfucker. Like none of this is normal.
Yeah.
It's like we live in a universe where, I mean, repulsor technology is so ubiquitous. It's sort of
Right.
like, I mean,
Like
everything
why
floats,
wouldn't they
like,
have like exactly if it was a normal like we're just like dropping pods, like why wouldn't it have repulsors on it? Like the fact that it's like, no, we're just shooting this at the fucking ground is like bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I guess it's like a weapon and a built-in weapon. Look, I don't know anything about this like science stuff. I just know what I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, what can I
Well,
say?
I think we have a good idea of what happened here. So how about we go back to town and report our findings?
Yeah. Should we check for survivors while we're here as the last afterthought before we go?
Yeah, I wanted to run a perception check over in this yonder because it looked like there was stuff and or lots of blood spots.
But yeah, survivors. Yeah, that's a good point, guys. Let's check for those. I'll go
Yeah,
do fly around.
I'll stay with
It's
Chal. Make sure she doesn't
it's
like
two
pass out.
It's
think she's
two
pretty
purple
secure in her crater.
perceptions for anyone that
Okay.
wants to look around for survivors or anything of note, and 3 setbacks because there's a lot of blood and debris everywhere. So it's just like it's a mess to sort of like sift through it for either.
Setback is the black one.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I was for some reason I had that in red in my head.
Yeah, don't give yourself extra red dice.
Yeah.
I got 2 threats and 1 triumph on my investigation.
Let me look at my my notepad here to see what that triumph might mean. Unless you've got a better idea.
Perception, I should say.
That is my
I guess.
third null of the night.
Yeah, what would be a good perception? A good triumph for perception.
I mean, is Clemm still around? Could you find Clemm under a pile of rubble?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. Can I just I don't know. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to find Clemm, that can be your triumph. You don't find any like artifacts of note, like sifting through the rubble. You don't find any survivors, including Clemm. But like his body is buried enough that like you kind of get the impression that something like the bodies got taken away, which is weird. Like if anyone comments on it, Champ's gonna be like, why would you do that? Like if you killed everyone and this is just a camp and your job was to kill everyone and blow the place up, like you wouldn't bother. Like you would just blow stuff up and leave.
Yeah. Like the most effort would be like just piling up the corpses and doing a burn pile, but like even that would be a kind of weird amount of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be some ulterior motive here.
Yeah. So one other thing, and this will be part of the triumph that you notice is you see like blood spots, but you don't see like a trail. Like it's been like if you were dragging a body off, like you would see like drag marks or like blood or like where a body was moved. You don't see any of that, which is really uncomfortable. Like it's a weird thing to pick up on. You're like something happened to the bodies, but they couldn't get moved, but they're not here, and like you would have expected there to be like some blood that looked like it had been from movement, and like it all looks like basically people died and the blood just stopped exactly there. So,
but does it look like
super
they
weird.
exploded, or does it look like all the blood that was in their body just like dropped in a pile where they were standing? Like,
this
so
is going to be
blew up, the blood would
this
kind
will
of
be a medicine check it'll be medicine or
well, we know how my
xenology.
medicine checks go.
I mean,
out of character,
anyone...
I'm just imagining like a U-wing floating like in the air, and the Dark Troopers are just yeeting the corpses up into it.
It could very well be something like that.
Well, I do have 1 rank in medicine, which makes it even weirder why I failed all of my medicine checks last time.
Yeah, I was like, we had you do that because you were way better than any of the rest of us.
Well, you know what? It's a new day.
It's a new day, new session. Okay, what am I rolling against?
For medicine?
Yes.
3 purple and 2 black. 1 because the debris is kind of making it hard to really suss out the details and really get a grasp on how much blood there is. You're like. Can
I give an aerial view and assist somehow?
Yeah, you can add. Actually, no. This is just a
okay, all right.
Like sort of does Champ remember this from sort of basic medical training?
Yeah,
that you would have gone through as a soldier.
Was Champ paying attention to the lesson on blood spatter patterns?
Or
Yeah,
was it
basically,
lost
like,
one of my
basic
dice.
biology.
the Kaminoan's butt.
One of my die fell. I don't know if it counted it.
But
But that's
pop
2
something into
failures.
chat. Okay, so you don't
failures.
really get a good feeling either way. You're like no, like you're pretty sure it's not all the blood, but like you're not totally sure. You're like, I don't remember the different species, like what the average is. Like you feel confident enough that like it's plausible, but also not like sure. You're sort of like a like maybe 30% at best certain that maybe all the blood's gone.
Okay. But like I don't recognize this blood spatter pattern from anything that I've seen before in combat.
Um so yeah, you would recognize this as like there's enough of a trajectory that like tells you basically people got shot.
Okay.
But there's directional spray that way. There's just nothing that's been like to indicate that people moved after that.
Right,
And
but like
then,
there should be a body on the ground based on like the rest of
Yeah.
what I'm seeing, and there's not. Okay.
Yeah,
But that's all I can tell.
it's like you don't even see like like spots in it where it had pooled around a body.
Okay. So it's weird.
Yeah, it is super weird. You do it. You know enough to like you don't remember the biology stuff, but you're like if anyone was dead for more than even a few minutes, like their blood would have clotted a little bit around where you'd be able to at least see a small variation in how it had been like clotting
Right.
around where the body would be, and instead it just looks like there was never a body. Just there's blood there.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, it's super weird. You don't remember much from medical, but like you remember enough to be like, this is weird. So you triumph. You found Clemm. His body is still there. He looks like he's got a burn mark through his chest, kind of like things like through the collarbone. So he got shot. But you can tell from the debris and how it had hit his head. When the building fell, it basically smashed his head, and it would have been like a cerebral hemorrhage type deal. So you're pretty sure you're
friend Clem. Pay
Was he
respects
shot
to
in
him.
the front
you
or
know.
the back?
He was shot in the front.
Okay.
You
Just
don't see a
trying to
weapon
get any sense of
near him.
betrayal. Okay.
No, you don't see a weapon near him. As part of your triumph, you find a basically a communicator. Think like somewhere between like a very basic phone that could text and a pager. Like you guys have seen these before. Like you could use them to. They're sort of like encrypted comm links, but they only do text. And it still works. It's in the one hand, and it's sort of like wedged in a gap under the rubble. So it's the one it's not crushed, despite how badly mangled the rest of his body is. And in it, you see two things on the screen. It's got a bio lock, so someone that isn't him can manipulate it. But you see the word "flee," and you recognize the communication code as belonging to Tori, the gal that owned the open house where you guys crashed in the closet and you made illegal frappes from her supplies.
Right.
So Clemson, you quickly put together. Clem told her to flee. And then you see basically like a little GPS map with 3 dots. You recognize it as sort of like a topographical view of the planet. Think like a wall map of like Earth.
How far away are these dots from each other? Like, and how far away are they from where we are now?
Okay, so There's
And also maybe we should get Chal to a hospital, investigate this more thoroughly, like on the way. Is the other thought? I'm just now realizing.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
um,
was just kind of
sweet
saying we
time.
should get the fuck out of here. Actually,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
they can
you
drop
can
these
you can pocket the
stormtrooper
thing.
bullets on us anytime. It's kind of scary.
Yeah,
I don't know
let's
anything about physics, but we might all die anytime. So maybe we should.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we slither onto the swirled gravy and carry on our conversation in orbit.
Probably. It doesn't look like there's anybody here that's alive, and I think we've gotten we've gotten the data cards and this communicator and a vision about what happened. So I feel like that's pretty good.
Yep.
Who doesn't love spoiled gravy? Let's get going.
If you guys want to
mangled rifle
get out of
for
here,
spare parts.
Okay.
What was that?
You now
I take a mangled rifle that isn't worth anything but scrap, but I take it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. You are carrying some awkward metal and some other. You recognize some stuff as being like kind of like the equivalent of carbon fiber type stuff. So like the raw materials are good, but like they'll be of limited use. So it's like it's worth something, but not a ton. So it'd be useful for like craft projects versus like making another gun. But
no, yeah, it's like I got mechanic skills. Like I might use it to patch the ship. We might get shot at. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you could totally use. You recognize like parts as like we could turn this into a patch kit. You like there's tools like on your ship that you can use. So yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah. So you guys checked. If I'm remembering correctly, you checked the room with all the radios and the communication stuff. Checked in here and you found Clemm actually in like the main kind of like command room. You can tell he would have been standing kind of like at the end of the table, and he was shot basically from the direction where the force die is into the room.
Okay.
So I don't remember if anyone looked in here. This is the building Tila went into, and where the one trooper came out the window from. I don't remember if anyone looked in there from last session, but if you guys did, then cool. And if not, there's things that are in there. So
I don't think we did. We didn't really get a chance to do any searching.
No, we
before combat
pretty
started.
much stabilized Chal, and that was the last major thing I think we did.
Okay, yeah. If you want to check in there, 3 purple perception just to pick up. See if anything stands out.
Let's see.
Like you guys know from when you guys had crashed here initially, like this is the like
3
dormitory.
success, 1 threat.
Okay.
So 3 success, 1 threat.
2 failure, 1 advantage. Or I'm sorry.
Okay.
2 failure.
If you succeeded, you found what you recognize as basically like a nice military blaster worth about 500 credits. It's like a decent pistol. Like think about finding like a modest like Sig Sauer. Like it's a nice gun. It's like a $600-700 handgun type thing. You're like it's nice.
Okay.
It's not like custom. It's not high end or flashy, but like it's a very serviceable weapon. Like it'd be the kind of thing that a person would own for protection or whatever.
Yep.
If you failed with some advantage, what you notice is a sign for a business. It's sort of like a flyer, sort of showing a like think like a sales brochure. With SIB Specialties, and you recognize an address as sort of being in back in Pated.
Okay.
The place you guys went when you were looking for Yada before you went out to the swamp.
Okay.
So it's you guys recognize this as being not the main city, but the other kind of big town. It's where you blew up the clubhouse and it like deep in the swamp, and there's a bunch of people in the red caps that were scumbags and lots of that.
Right. Those guys.
Cool. So that's what you guys find in there.
Do we understand where those blinking dots on our locator are found?
If you take a minute and look at them, you can kind of get like at a glance, you can kind of see three like you can get like a rough idea. You sort of see enough of the coordinate system that you're like, oh, I could pop this into like my data pad and get like a more detailed like Google Maps thing.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not like in danger of immediately dying.
I mean, is one of those dots on that location on the map where we just were?
Where the location you are at now is not one of the dots.
Okay.
I'll try to interpret the dots and see if we're in mortal danger, while the rest do the searching.
Yeah. They're like you recognize these dots as being sort of like Google Map like location pins versus like a tracker of someone moving.
Okay, it's not radar. They're not moving.
No, it's not like it's not. They're like the dots aren't moving. It looks like they're pinned on addresses or something. You sort of like get the impression like this is like a map of the planet, and this is just like, oh, these are cities, or this is like a point of interest, like that, like on a map. That's kind of the vibe you get. Not that it's a tracker or anything.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
I think it's time to roll out and get Chal some medical care.
Yeah, let's patch her up.
Agreed.
I feel like we did a pretty thorough search.
Yep.
Snekgo, mind if we bum a ride with you?
That is literally why I'm here.
Remember, sweetie, Champ's like getting worried. He's like patting Chal's like hand to like keep her coherent. Like, do you remember like with Snekgo?
Oh wow, you're really handsome.
Okay, we gotta get her into a hospital.
Yeah. So what's the there's two things. One, let me just flip for some flavor here. So Rich chimes in when you're talking about that the piloting is the whole reason why I'm here, and Rich kind of scoffs and points out that he's a perfectly capable driver. And his T-spout comes out and like he does like a weird mechanical flourish that's sort of like looks like think about someone in a lowrider like leaned back like turning the wheel of like their Cadillac. Like it's like this weird effortless like buttery smooth driving motion that like despite it being a droid with a tea dispenser doing this, you're like, oh, he's fucking showing off how he'd be like ghost riding the whip.
Oh my
you're
God.
like that little bastard. He like it's like Jason Statham trying to be super smooth, but as a droid. It's super like weird, but also kind of funny. You can tell he's kind of like poking fun at you. Like maybe it's like it's a friend teasing another friend, like, hey, like, you know, like you might call your friend an idiot or whatever, but like, you know. So he's suggesting he can fly because if you look at his character sheet, whichever tray I put that in, he can definitely pilot. I think he's almost as good as Mech, which is
but what side of the asteroid are we on?
That's
the real question.
Mech is still on the same side of the asteroid as Rich, so Mech is still the best pilot of the two.
Okay.
But if the Star Destroyer went to the other, the Star Destroyer would need to make a small light space jump to get to the other side of the asteroid, and then Rich would be the better pilot of the two on this side. Okay, so you guys are all gonna head back to the ship. It's gonna be kind of it's getting kind of, you know, by the time all this searching and kind of looking around, cracking open the boxes, it's now like I think about 7 o'clock. Like the sun's kind of starting to set. Think like kind of like, you know, July in the U.S. where you kind of have a nice like late sunset kind of thing. But you guys all know it's late. You're starting to get kind of hungry.
It's at this point, having been in swampy areas, I am very glad to be cold-blooded because you guys are getting eaten alive by bugs.
Yeah. I was gonna say everyone except Snekgo is taking a strain because you're getting really annoyed by how many insects are biting you.
Sounds like fun.
Snekgo, you actually you've popped open your mouth a couple times as you kind of slithered along and just ate some mosquitoes. They're sort of like really small versions of popcorn shrimp. They sort of remind you, like the taste of the ones on this in this particular swamp, sort of remind you of your grandma's cooking, like in a good way. Like you're just like, oh, these are kind of like a nice little treat.
Right on.
Yeah, they're like a super low calorie treat. He can basically have like a mix of popcorn shrimp and like caramel corn just like strolling around and not gain a pound. So he's like having a great time.
Listen, Snekgo, I don't want to see that shit. Like I eat fruit. I don't appreciate the insect eating. It's no bueno from my perspective.
Well, it's not like these are relatives of yours. Come on.
Well, fair enough. Eat them all you want, but just don't do it in front of me, huh?
Fair enough.
I love that empathy. Okay,
yeah,
so you guys can.
We insects. We don't have a high degree of empathy for each other. Thousands of us respond in every generation. Hard to have empathy for that, but I understand. Eat all the insects you need.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that. We basically have a mating season, and everyone just sort of like observes the basic rituals, and then it's just 20 of us just going at it in a mating ball for 3 days straight.
Jim is like, okay, I'm out, and he's gonna pick up
that. This was not where I expected my game stream to end up, with a discussion about a snake pile for reproduction, but here we are.
Here we are. Champ blushes and is like, okay, and he's just gonna scoop Chal up and start taking her to the ship. I'm gonna go before I learn any more biology facts today.
Yeah.
All right.
Champ has encountered snakes in his travels as a soldier, and has never once thought about snake pits for reproduction, and now he's weirded out.
Yeah, now
you're getting jelly. Let me tell you that, Snekgo.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So you guys get back to the ship. It takes a little while. It's a little slower going this way, just because the sun's starting to set, so you can't really see the the trail you had sort of followed. So it takes a little while. And it basically the sun is all but gone by the time you get back to the ship. It's still there. You don't see anything instantly about that happened with the ship.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I guess we just get on this ship then.
Yeah, that's a thing you can do.
Should we inspect the ship? Can I get the once over?
I mean,
or maybe just feel with the force, feel if you feel anybody that's maybe snuck on the ship while we were gone.
I mean, I don't walk into a man's house and inspect his,
well, no,
his arrangements.
I'm trying to think through of would there be any sort of standard things that I might notice would be odd or out of place, or things that a mammalian humanoid would, not put back correctly in a very Sluician configured ship, as you have described that the spoiler gravy is very specifically Sluician.
Yeah. You would give me a 2 purple vigilance. You get 2 blues because it's your ship and you spend plenty of time here. So, you'll know, you would walk into your kitchen and recognize if one of the cabinet doors wasn't closed, or one of your cabinet doors wasn't closed all the way. It was almost all the way. You'd be like, "What the hell?"
Are you kidding? 2 failure, 1 advantage. God damn it.
Yeah. So you hop in, we walk in on board, and as you kind of walking through,
seems fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Go
you're
pilot.
pretty sure you're pretty
Pilot the
sure
ship.
everything. You don't see anything wrong. Everything looks, kind of like you'd expect.
Let's
Okay.
kick the tires and light the fires. Let's go.
All right.
Excellent. Everything's fine then, I suppose. Off we go then.
Yep. Ship starts up. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Like no warnings, no alerts. Just like it seems to fire right up. As far as you can tell, nothing has happened to it. And this is where I just point at the
That's
last
comforting to hear.
dark point that I had flipped. And
Mm-hmm.
and I just smile for a second.
Subtle.
So where are you guys headed?
I think we should probably check in with Mel first, just to
So we go
just to
back.
report her mission complete, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can maybe she can give us the clearance to, like, either find me a place to recover, or if we could, like, find a bacta tank and get it in, like, is the spoiled gravy, is it interstellar or is it a planetary vessel?
It's like it's a hyperspace capable ship.
Okay.
It's
We can go to other planets.
yeah, it's like a Geo Metro. Like you could take it on the highway if you had to.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not snazzy.
it's an old model. It's kind of beat up. Like it's pretty well maintained mechanically, but like it's sort of like a house where everything feels brand new, but it's also feels like you were stepping into the 70s. You're just like, this is weird.
Well, I don't necessarily feel like sitting in a hospital for a month. So maybe if we could install a what are they called?
The tank.
The
A
what are the
bacta
tanks
tank?
called? Bacta tank, yeah. Maybe if we get that installed in your ship, I think we all have some stuff we'd like to do, and if we could have you along, that'd be great. You know.
Well, the thing is, even when you buy the tank, you still got to buy the bacta to put in it, and that's actually most times more expensive than the tank. I mean, unless you want to like just go to the Chili's Express and they can just give you a lot of those pitchers of margaritas, you fill it with that.
Well,
I
we
mean,
could-
Chal would die that way because she would drink herself to death. She would just be like, still.
I mean,
she'd
I
be
would
like
float in a
delicious
vat of
and
margarita
healing.
mix, yeah.
Yeah,
We did
she
come
would
into
die
a
the
windfall
happiest,
recently. We were actually planning on buying a ship right before this, but maybe if we could have you come along, maybe we could help deck out your ship with the funds we had reserved for that.
Yeah, I got a few credits hanging around, but I feel like the heat's on us. Maybe
Yeah.
we got to find somebody
He-
somewhere where
yeah.
the
Yeah,
heat's a little lower.
check this out. Eorlax bid on Ben Yandel. He put 1,000 credits on Ben Yandel.
You look like a crazy wily bastard, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I
Snack,
cannot say
you
I'm
you
surprised.
think the fact that they are like bragging this to you, you're like this person is basically admitting I shit my pants every night with like a grin on their face as they're like celebrating and like hooting and hollering. You're like, what is wrong with this moron? Like you waste. It's like this is like he's telling you he invests his paycheck into NFTs. Like this is that kind of stupid. You're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like. You want to slap him, but
Ain't
like
the brightest. Ain't
you
the
don't think
brightest.
you
But,
could slap
hey,
him
I got
hard
some
enough.
credits. What can I say?
It worked.
Yeah,
Right.
so you definitely
Even
like
a
feel
blind
like
squirrel
yeah,
finds a
he's
nut.
fortunate but stupid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where would be well, I guess what port were we in previously when we met up with Mel?
She was in Tingen. She
Tingen?
gave you a yep. She was back in the main capital. So just to kind of describe where you guys are at. On the continent, there's kind of two main cities. Tingen is the capital. It's kind of near a coast, but it's not on the coast. There's like a little there's like some clearings and stuff. And then on sort of like if Tingen's kind of to the north of the continent, down sort of to the southwest is Pated, and that's right on the coast. That's sort of where You guys knew the little you knew about this planet when you got here was it used to be like a big fishing like sea agriculture type producer.
Okay.
So you recognize that you're a little closer to Pated, the slightly smaller one on the coast. Like it's probably like it'd be about like a 90-minute trip instead of like 2 hours. So it's you're a little closer to one, but you're not like super far off being kind of in the middle.
Okay, but there's major port facilities at this that we can get equipment like a back to tank. 'Cause that's where I would be heading. I'm heading for a
make a two purple streetwise, and we'll see what you think.
very well. 3 success, 1 threat. I have had the weirdest rolls tonight.
That's fine. So you think about it, and you're like, well, either city's big enough that they would be able to have like a medical supply place. Like you don't know of any offhand.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
that's
I
your
just wanna
threat
make
is
sure I
like
land at
you're
the-
like I'm
Yeah.
not you're like I don't know where I would start, but you're pretty sure like if such a thing could be found on the planet, either of those
That'll be-
cities would likely have something local.
Yeah,
Or-
we might as well just go
or
back to
close by.
Tinjin if we have to
Tinjin,
check
okay.
in with Mel anyway.
Yeah.
Just so we're at the same spot.
She gave you a way to contact her. With you don't actually have to go see her in person. You can go try to speak with her in person if you would like. You could also basically use the little. It's basically like a YubiKey, like RSA like security token. You can plug it into the communications system that's built into the ship, and it basically creates like an encrypted channel. So it goes end to end encryption. It's you know the audio quality is shit, but it's secure. Or at least it's kind of like it's sort of like using Signal instead of text messaging or WhatsApp. You're like it's kind of crude, but it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Plus, we don't know if the other port has a Chili's Express, so we go where we know.
You do not know that. But if you want to give me a dark side point, there can totally be a Chili's Express, or even a regular Chili's.
No, we already know where one exists.
Okay.
That's our
I
home
don't know
base.
if we want to
You,
class
you
up,
can't blame the
know,
GM for trying. Can't blame me for trying.
Unless there's an objection to that. That's my suggestion.
I think that'll be like the thing that the party does when Mech Hamster rejoins is they go to a real Chili's. Really, really class up the joint.
We should meet at an actual Chili's and play Star Wars.
Oh my
Okay.
god, yes.
Oh, that'll be the real life
Holy
meetup for
fuck.
this.
We can get some what is it, mozzarella sticks and potato
Goat queso?
skins.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
has to happen.
Okay.
All the fajitas in the world.
I'll put this out there to the Twitch and YouTube community, which I think is just us that are here. But yeah, if someone wants to donate to the cause, we will all happily get together at a Chili's and do a live session around the table.
Oh my god,
with
that would be
appetizers.
fucking excellent.
It'll all be a theater of the mind, or figurines will just be played by various like appetizers. So like Chal will be like a buffalo wing. Snekgo will be like a potato skin. It'll be great.
Okay. So
Eorlax will be a
we get-
shorter potato skin.
It'll be the cockroach on the table. Chili's.
Yeah. Chili's Express or Chili's people, if you're catching this and you want to do a little brand redemption by sponsoring this event, we will happily report back that in fact your restaurants are very clean and not at all roach infested.
Yes, every meal was microwaved to perfection.
Fantastic. I mean, I say this as a guy who has been too lazy to wait for the oven to heat up and just like thrown cheese on a tortilla and thrown it in the microwave and like, it'll be fine. It's close enough. Anyway, my personal shame aside,
That is not
you guys
unique
can,
to you, my friend.
yeah, you can head to you guys can head to Tinjin. Did you want to send a message to Mel beforehand?
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, let her know we're on our way back with the info.
She just responds with like a little other like map dot that you recognize, kind of like the ones that you found on Clemm's phone. You notice it's low on battery, so if you want to plug it in to make sure it doesn't die before you write down where it's pointing or something, you can do that.
Okay.
But basically, you look at the dot and it is pointing to the Chili's Express.
How convenient.
So you very much get the impression she's basically just like, it's her way of saying meet here. Like,
Right.
There's no words required. While you see the dot and you're like, oh, where is that? You're like, that looks like it's close to the city. And you tap it and you're like, oh, okay. You look at the map and it occurs to you that one of the points on Clemm's phone is pointing somewhere in the city.
Okay.
You recognize vaguely, sort of like you could tell what part of town it's in, but like you don't know the city that well, unless you want to try to roll a familiar sense. Maybe you'll remember the city this time. Your call.
When we land and I do my post-flight walk around, do I notice anything? It's my ship. I'm gonna do a post-flight.
Okay. Yeah. So are you looking for something out of the ordinary, or just like to look to see how things look?
Standard post-flight. I'm looking for anything broken, leaking, hanging, anything scorched, burned.
Okay.
I'm looking for panels out of place. I'm looking for like, oh shoot, this hydraulic line needs to be replaced or something, or something's leaking. I'm looking for general kind of obvious things. It's
okay.
not it's absurdly detailed, but I am looking for things that would be out of place.
Okay, it's two purple perception and 2 black, just because it's kind of it's a little hard to tell because it's covered in a lot of smashed mosquitoes from taking off in the swamp. You basically
could you have Rich help with that?
I mean,
have the droid run a diagnostic or something
no,
like that?
You would normally just send like random co-pilot to go do that.
Rich is a very good co-pilot.
Rich is your co-pilot?
Yeah, he would plug in. His space pilot is 2 yellow.
Check.
Okay, well then Rich will roll a perception and see if any of the systems report anything out of the ordinary. Whoops.
1 success, 1 advantage.
Okay. Let me see what his comes up with. Okay. So your check, you're basically the equivalent of your check engine light is on.
Okay.
You don't remember if it was on before. Like you think it probably was because you've been putting off maintenance because it's like going to like the auto mechanic. You're gonna get taken for an arm and a leg, and there's nothing you can do about it because they have the parts and you can't order what you need for this model. So you're pretty sure like yeah. So it's sort of like a like otherwise none of the systems are reporting anything like interesting or out of spec. It's just basically just like, hey, your time for an oil change light's on.
Okay.
It's sort of like a generic it's like the generic maybe plug in a diagnostic scanner type thing, but it doesn't have any other information and he doesn't get a code. When you look around the outside, you don't see anything out of place. It's kind of gross. like seeing all the like shredded, like basically like think love bugs on the front of a car, all over your ship. You're like, this is going to be a pain in the ass to clean.
Just
But
licks them off.
there's no like variation in it that would make you think like the shape of the ship, like the pattern, like the hull panels had been dented or altered or moved or anything. To the best of your knowledge of your ship, like it seems like it's basically how it was.
Gotcha.
So there's nothing that raises any red flags for you.
All right, I will annotate that for next time we have some downtime. I will pour over and try and figure out what the check engine light is. But I'm not going to be worried about it.
Yeah. If at the starport, you guys can land and dock. It's you pay the usual fee of 50 credits a day. It's basically like their minimum rental charge. But like you get a spot and you can plug yourself in and they bill you if you need fuel or rations, water, whatever. Like they'll hook you, like you hook it up yourself, but the system will just bill you.
Okay.
So it's like a self-serve like gas station or like long haul trucking stop kind of deal. Like their thing, like they have tools and stuff available if you want to wrench on your thing yourself, and you can hire a mechanic, but it's not like a full service place.
Right on. Okay.
BJ, thanks for stopping by, buddy. So you guys land and get out. Chal, give me a 2 purple perception.
Okay. Four success, 3 threat.
Ooh.
You take a strain because you're going to
God.
trip because you notice something and it's going to disrupt you and you're going to like trip on a curb instead of your
Taking
toe.
so much strain.
My goodness.
So what you notice is for as active as the city was last time you were here, like by this point, like it's late evening, but you would still expect, given the big race, like the party would still be going for like at least through the night tonight. Like a 2-day party after is kind of traditional. It's the big cultural event. It's like the 4th of July, but like mixed with Memorial Day. Like people take their vacations and party. So that's what you get, and like you notice that like it's really dead. It's not that there's nobody out like a ghost town. It's just it. You would expect it to be more like a normal city, and like it's subdued even for normal levels. So like relative to the party you would expect, like it's real quiet.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Yeah, it's also a little too Wrath. There's a good reference for everybody.
Well, let's go ahead and meet up with Mel, I guess. No use standing around.
Champ.
Yes.
Do you want to go ahead and give me a 3 purple vigilance?
Okay.
You were a military person in a city, so you are. We're gonna see if you notice a thing that's happening.
A thing. TM.
Yeah.
2 threats. No success.
Yeah. It's weird that that there's no one really out. You don't see anything.
Golly.
You don't really see a lot of movement. It's just it doesn't seem like much is going on. Like there's not a lot of people out. Like
Everybody
there's not a lot
must
of
have
traffic
fucked
driving
up once
around.
the race is over. Weird.
They must all be at the Chili's Express. That must be where all the crowds are.
Those sweet potato skins, how can you blame them, really, if you get right down to it?
Yeah. So from where you guys landed, you're at docking port 803. you're in basically like it's a super tight like parking space for the ship. It's kind of like it's not impossible. It just takes time. It's like parallel parking into a spot that's only like 6 inches larger than your car, type deal. So it's annoying, but not dangerous. But
All right.
you get out. You guys get out. You're walking to to the side of the starport with the Chili's Express. You can either kind of go through the starport, which will take about a half hour normally, because it's like if you had to walk through all of what's the name of the airport in Atlanta that's like super huge and a pain in the ass.
LAX.
I was thinking of the one in Atlanta, but LAX is like if you didn't have like the little like train or whatever to take you from different terminals, like so something like that. Like it's a pain. Or you recognize
Hartsfield Jackson is the name of the Atlanta airport.
There you go. Thank you.
It is one of the worst airports in the United States. It's atrocious.
Yeah, I went through there on Sunday, so I was like it was super. It was a super weird, like awkward to navigate airport. So that's why I chose
Phoenix. But yeah, Hartsfield sucks.
Yeah. Same with the what's the main Dulles? The main DC airport is terrible too. Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah. I will take you expert travelers for some of those that I haven't been to. But yeah, you otherwise recognize it would probably be faster to just like leave the starport and walk around the block versus having to go through the thing, because it's not a straight shot. It's sort of like walking through a maze versus just kind of like walking around the edge of the square. And that would take about 15 minutes, so like half as long.
Okay.
There's things you can notice either way, and things happening in both directions. So.
I mean, Champ's just gonna vote for whatever's the most direct. So.
Can I just like fly up and notice everything in every direction?
You are still inside the starport, so you're basically like you're like the corridors. They don't have like low ceilings, but they're only like 10-foot ceilings. Like for it would be like a super tight claustrophobic feeling for an airport.
I hate low ceilings. This is bullshit.
Yeah, you guys are in like the discount parking section. You're not in the we pay 3 times as much to have a nicer.
I'm inclined to agree.
Fly coach. That's what I say.
I'm inclined to agree.
You guys are basically in these. You're Jack and his friend in Titanic. Like that's where you parked.
Yeah.
Right.
Just the most direct route. No sightseeing.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just walk through the
up, I don't think we're gonna walk extra.
Yeah.
I just want to, basically turn in our mission and get clearance to do our own thing. That's kind of my priority.
Just in case Mech is getting the shit kicked out of him by Imperial soldiers for funsies, on their lunch break, we want to maybe get him out of there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Mech is meeting with Grand Moff Tarkin at this point.
Oh shit!
So
lovely.
He could very well be getting his ass kicked. I don't have the sheet of what's happening for him during this session, but
probably not great.
He could definitely get himself in trouble. Let's say, you guys, if he told you who he was talking to, you'd be like, that's maybe the second most powerful person in the galaxy. Like you all would be like, yeah, he could just shoot Mech in the face and be like, well, that's the end of that. Take this body out, and they'd be like, yep, you got it. This guy deserved it. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys don't know that yet, but that's what Mech is doing. So that's why he's if you try to radio him, he may not be available.
Yeah, I figured radio would not be a thing that happens at this point.
Yeah, he was outside of a room when you guys called, and he flagged down his handler to get help. But he has since been shoved into a room, and if you try radioing him, you basically just get your number is not in service, which is weird. But you basically are like, oh, we can't talk to him.
Ah.
You would have enough common sense to know, like, Yeah, they don't want him talking to anyone right now.
Yeah, we're not gonna get a hold of Mech until we get done with this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The security around him is such that he would not get to sneeze if they didn't want him to sneeze, or they decided it was not okay. Yeah, he's in trouble. It's a fun side that's going on. But, yeah, so as you're going through the starport, you notice more uniformed Imperial security officers. You all kind of recognize them as sort of like the kind of like the standard BDU type uniform for the military, but just like the Navy version. Like think about if
Are
you
they
just had like
black,
random
gray, or white?
These are kind of like a navy blue, but they're kind of dark.
Okay, so the black ones, that's the security type. Okay.
Yep. That's almost that's you have been around the block enough to have seen like a military security. So like you would expect these people to be like manning the gate at the military base in town. Like that's a reasonable connection to have cleaned. And you notice there's the people that you see out. There's only a couple. You see some humans. You see a couple of Rhodians with a small child, and you see a couple of Jawas trying to like get to a like departure point. Like they're coming like out, like they're trying to get a ship and get out. They're staying really close to a wall, like they're afraid of something. They like
to the Jawas.
they look at you like you just dropped a racial slur. You in fact screwed up the pronunciation, and you said something very horrible. You basically gave them like an entire QAnon spiel in your one mispronunciation.
Wow.
Like
their word.
they think you are you are Mike Pillow to them. You are just a lunatic who has no
don't
empathy
have the
or
flavor points for that.
My
dude.
pillow guy.
I don't need to. You're being racist. Racism is not flavor. That's my official ruling on that.
That's the table.
All right.
Can't flip to be racist.
Yeah. No amount of point flipping will get you away with a slur. Yeah, that's their word. So anyway, they make a gesture that without having to understand the native Jawa tongue, you recognize as basically them politely inviting you to stick your head someplace very unpleasant, attached to your own body, and make your own human centipede.
Gross.
I nodded, say, right back at you, buddy. You know what I said.
Okay.
Snekgo apparently has a bad history with Jawas now.
No.
If you want to have a bad history, I'm gonna need that destiny point for flavor because you're introducing a fact.
Oh, never flip for flavor. We've learned that lesson a long time ago.
I believe you.
Can I try to
flavor?
Yeah, that's true. Can I try to like calm emotions? You know, give them the old 1-2, chill everybody out a little bit.
Yeah, chill, daddy, chill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said.
It's going to be a discipline and your what is it? I forget it. Manipulate. I always forget the wording of it, but it's your mind frazzle one that does the emotions.
Yes, it is a discipline check. Yeah. What am I?
It's a red and 2 purples.
Okay.
And then roll some pips.
Some pips. All right. So here's my regular check. That's 1 success, 1 advantage, and then rolling the force pips.
So you will be able to give them a feeling.
And I got three white and 1 dark.
Okay. You have enough light side points that you can give them kind of a calming emotion. What would make them feel calm?
That's a good question. I just want everybody to feel like the warmth of the loving kindness of the Buddha. Just everybody's smiling and happy. Just have a nice stretch. Just feel your body, feel the emotions in your body. It's fantastic. It's really wonderful.
Okay.
The Jawas are swimming through a sea of droid parts, and they're all for the taking.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
have found,
Yeah, just imagine it's all for the taking.
Yeah, they are having a small epiphany of like ways that they can use their junk at home to make new and exciting things to sell and trade for other exciting things to sell and trade. So they are very excited.
Yes,
they kind
desire is the source of all suffering. Let go of your desire, but if you desire some parts, fine. That's good too.
Yeah. So they kind of stumble off in a stupor. They basically are so like content and like in a happy think about like the laughing gas or whatever at the dentist or whatever. Like they're coming off the nitrous. Like they're kind of stumbling off towards their ship. They basically forgot Snekgo was even a person. They're back in their own world again, and so they continue off. And yeah, that's kind of the vibe you're getting as you walk through. There's no like fights. There's no unusual sounds. Like you still hear the usual. You can't park your car here. Like speeder loading zone. Like all the kind of crap you would expect to hear over an airport PA. There's less calls with specific names. You kind of all pick up on that, but it's also kind of later in the evening, so that's not necessarily a thing that stands out. The fact that the city seems to be very quiet stands out, but the fact that the airport is kind of dead late at night is not super unusual.
Right. Okay.
So
we
you
go
guys
up
can
to the hostess and ask for a table for 6.
You gotta do a thing.
Is there a hostess?
Is there a hostess
There-
with the mostest?
Yeah, hang on. Thing loads. Brace your frames.
Hold on to your butts. Ooh. Our favorite place. Feels like home.
Yeah. Let me just grab a saved object. Okay, Rich is with you guys, and don't mind me. I'm just making sure I have all the pieces because I don't think I had Snekgo before.
Ooh, I got big.
Yeah, the scaling on this particular map is kind of weird. None of my all my maps are slightly different scales, so if I have to move you
That's
guys,
Easier
you
for
guys
me
are
to
all-
track myself now.
you guys are out here, except for Mech, who is yeeted on a Star Destroyer. You guys don't know where he is, but given that she's the ship's captain, like that's your speculation. So Rich is here with you guys.
Do we recognize anyone yet, or we do we get the feeling that we're the first ones to arrive for this parlay thing?
This is the most empty Chili's I've seen in a while.
Okay. So most of the outside the Chili's is like the stormtroopers are basically more of like kind of the security. I just didn't swap the models because I'm trying to reuse this to not have to make it up again. Otherwise, you kind of walk here and it's pretty dead. Like there's aside from security, you only see 1 or 2 people out. Like you don't hear a lot of activity. Again, it's kind of like the airport at night, so like after 11 o'clock, there's usually not a ton of flights coming in, so there's not like as many people getting dropped off or picked up. But the Chili's has like the one door guy who's kind of like the security. He looks disinterested. and doesn't say anything. He seems a little surprised when he sees you guys enter, but doesn't say anything. Like it doesn't like he doesn't. He's not alarmed. He just seems kind of surprised. Like, oh, people still out.
Okay.
And you go inside, and you don't see any, and you just see basically who's there. You see an Athorian at the bar, and one guy kind of off in the corner, sort of nursing a beer. You guys actually recognize him. He was here drinking before you guys left to go check out the thing for Mel. He had lost pretty big on the races, and he's just drinking himself still. You're like,
Oh,
this guy
boy.
has been here for like 30 hours just drinking Bud Lights really slowly. It's very sad.
Oh, poor guy. Oh man.
Yeah, that is the correct gift for what he's doing. Just imagine that with Bud Light. With swill. He's paying for swill, but he's it's not even wine. So yeah, you don't see anything going on in the Chili's, but the sort of like server droid kind of like gives you the greeting thing. And last time you were here, they had staff working. Right now, you just see like a small droid on tracks. Think kind of like Rich. It's got like a tray, and like it's you've seen it bring a beer to the sad guy at the table drinking by himself.
Okay.
So you're like, oh, the service droid like makes a thing and puts it on him, and he just drives it over.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, let's ask for a table for 6, I guess, while we wait.
Yeah, when you say that to the droid, it just kind of like gestures at the fact that there's empty tables and just is like sort of makes the like it's weird because it's sort of like think like robot arms, but they're just like gesturing like move them together. So you can like these tables aren't like particularly heavy or sturdy, like you can move them if you need to. So you could put like 3 of these tables together and get enough chairs to seat all of you and Mel if she shows up.
Did this droid go to the Broad College? Is he like, get anywhere?
Sit where you want.
Yeah, say what you want. I got swill to ceiling.
Does it look like we're sitting people here? There's no one in here.
Yeah, hey, you fellow Broad College graduate there, droid.
All of our destiny points went away. Hang on.
It's that droid's name is that droid's name is Broad2D2.
Yeah, I'll flip a token
okay.
for that.
Okay.
Yeah, Broad 2D2 and
Broad 2D2. Somehow it like, despite the fact that it is very much like an R2 style droid just with like a square head, it has what like you're like, is it fucking smoking? How is a droid smoking? What is this? But it is like smoking a cigarette that like never seems to like get smaller, but is always like spewing like ash and smoke into the air.
Awesome.
It is bizarre. It's also for some reason wearing a dirty apron that says Betty, but it's covered in grease, so like it's kind of hard to see.
Somehow has bags under its sensors.
Yeah, it's got bags under its eyes. You're like, wait, how is that a thing? That's metal. That shouldn't be possible unless it's like been dented or. But like you're like, oh, this droid is just haggard. Like that is your understanding of this droid.
That droid's tired.
Yeah. Perfect. Refreshing. Good drink, Governor.
Oh my god, so
right.
good.
Well, I guess we put some tables together and sit down and wait for Mel.
Okay. What are you guys doing while you wait? Are you gonna drink? You gonna talk about anything? Do you want to look at any of the stuff you picked up? What's the game plan?
Yeah, let's order some food and maybe take a look at that see if we can figure out what those other locations are on that communicator that we picked up. That's my vote anyway.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, start.
Yeah, we got those hard drives too.
Yeah, but we need to put them into a computer and look at them that way, I think.
Like we could do that back at the ship, and I assume we would leave those at the ship, or no? Or do we just take everything with us?
I would, yeah. Let's leave. Let's say that we left the data at the ship, but the communicator I want to look at.
Hey, I ain't leaving shit at the ship. You know, the ship's liable to be, fiddled with, as they say.
I guess so, but if we get taken into custody, then
Dude,
take
he
it,
It's
just
all with
take it
us.
out of
I
our
look
pockets.
I look at Snekgo. I was like, dude, he just dissed your ride. What the hell?
I diss my ride, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Oh, you're
giving
cool.
you the my car's a pile of shit, but it's my pile of
Yeah.
shit. Damn it, I'm the one that calls it names. You're a
What are
little
you
offended,
doing
but
later?
like you're not.
Trying to
But
diss
not
anybody's
like-
ride, but listen, we got some sensitive shit here. You know, people trying to pick it up. Sticky fingers, as they say, or mandibles, or
Okay,
whatever
okay.
people have.
I don't
Okay.
have sweat glands, so I'm with you. Of like, I don't really know.
Oh
what
yeah, I've
taste is
never
about.
heard of sweat glands. That's exotic stuff there. I don't even breathe through lungs. I just breathe through like whole carapace. I ain't never smoked anything, to be honest with you, because it's physically impossible for me to do that.
Yeah, your lungs don't actually work that way. You are incapable of.
Yeah, I don't
of
have
smoking.
lungs. I just like breathe through holes in my carapace.
Hey Betty,
Well,
can you stick one of your
the funny
cigarettes
thing
in one of
is,
your-
in high school, Eorlax was like he still tried to smoke to be cool, so like he just like held a lit cigarette near like a.
That's
hole in
entirely
in
for
his
show.
shell.
I sound like I'm a smoker. But I ain't never smoked a cigarette in my life. Believe it or not.
Beautiful. I love the flavor we're getting here. This is fantastic.
So-
Oh, looks like we lost Mr. Kaifer.
Still in Discord. Can you hear us, Kaifer?
Yeah.
Oh boy, he might be.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. Well.
Oh, just lost power. Well, that's
Oh,
okay.
shit.
Well, then he's going to disappear again in a second.
I'm gonna take a little break then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's take
a break.
a bathroom break and hydration and stuff, and we'll see
Perfect.
if this is where we're pausing or if he's gonna get power back.
Or if his power is going to come back on in the next minute.
Yeah, it's like the next 5 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah.